The message today feels like it is love related, but I feel it's important to preface that by saying it doesn't have to be romantic. It's just the way it's coming through is very singular in nature, like one very deep connection, although that could always change as we continue through this. This person the reading is meant for is very unique to me. There is an extreme amount of sacrifice that this person has had to learn from. You may be the type of person who what looks like is the invisible setup in the background. It's like no one acknowledges what you do, but without you, the show would collapse on itself. You're doing the most labor, but you don't like to show or get acknowledgement for that labor, or it just never happens for you. I really kind of see here that you don't like the spotlight, so others kind of get it since you're not claiming it and you have no desire to be in it. This is showing to me as what looks like an old relationship, something close, something very deep. It could have went on for a very long time. You were the backstage effort to this person and their life. And over time, it looks like the quality of their life improved because of this invisible backstage labor you were doing behind the scenes. It wasn't hard for you to do this labor. Like, I don't see it being like you had to work hard. I see it being very much natural labor that you're effortlessly good at. It's like you just had a way of harmonizing what they couldn't. And this person naturally, and people like this, naturally gravitate to you because you can effortlessly heal and effortlessly coordinate this backstage that they need so desperately. This is very much healer energy. Your Chiron placement could be super significant in your chart. I would look at that after this or during this reading, see what house it's in, what placement it's in. This reading is for you if you feel like you've ended or have been in relationships and there is this moment that looks like a following regret. There's a current imbalance that exists after relationships end for you, after things settle. I kind of see this person, whoever we're talking about here, taking up most of your healing energy. And so it brings this imbalance the longer you're with them. They are being built up and you are being brought down in the process. So this is like maybe a common experience you've seen in your relationships is you can't hold healing for you and another. It's always like all or nothing. And it's because these people need your healing. They're like a sponge. What inevitably happens in this dynamic is I'm getting the sense where there's like this anger or resent for this person benefiting from significantly from your energy, from the groundwork you've done for them in the backstage. Maybe you help people feel financially accountable. You heal their wounds enough to believe in themselves and actually begin to physically manifest things. Is basically like accessing discipline they didn't have before you because you're healing their wounds in the background. I kind of see this as a very, very specific message for those who have really healed other people or another person specifically. And after that healing process takes place and the dust settles, you're kind of left with, wait, why are things worse for me now? And so much better for this other person in comparison. This message kind of seems to be focused on what specific energy lingers for you after your healing energy is wiped like this in connections. It is very specific to a person who's found themselves in worse situations. Like you may have lost yourself, but also feel more empty while this person is much more well off. And there's a specific anger that comes with this, like a desire to take back what you gave that you didn't feel in the moment. It's afterwards. And this person who has this like more built version of their life is something you feel you healed them for and you suffered for. And so there's a very distinct feeling of like ownership of your healing energy that you want to reclaim that might come off as like maybe jealousy or bitterness or resent, but really it's like that wanting that healing energy back for yourself in this moment. If that sounds anything like you or your recent experience, this message is definitely for you. A lot of things are going on right now with this person attached to you, and it seems like it's all at once. This part seems to be their perspective, I think, of what went on for them, answering a lot of your questions about what even happened from an energy standpoint here, or what is happening. I don't know if past or present is really relevant to what I'm seeing here, but the first thing that comes through is kind of like a vision, a visualization about someone's saving a very specific portion of their plate, very specific pieces of their plate to eat later, the best for last kind of vibe here. It's like who I'm being shown here is deciding the best parts and then scooting them over for later. That could be something you literally do or this person literally does. But if it's not, I kind of see it as reflecting this person's perspective on you, which is really fascinating that it's being shown to me in this way. It's a very complicated connection. It really is. It has a lot of layers. This person had a lot of subconscious behavior that they weren't quite aware of really at all. Like this saving of food metaphor here is kind of showing me they unconsciously put you in a future tense space, like a container of the future in their mind, in their energy. They reserved you without fully consuming you in the present tense. They didn't claim you in the now. They saved you for later. Okay? I know that sounds really weird. You may have felt this was going on, but you couldn't describe it. So it maybe kind of left you feeling resent in a way that you couldn't really name. And this is the energy side of that. Along with that reserving energy, that containment of energy for the future, there's something really connected to it about why they harmed you if they did. Especially repeated harmful behavior here is coming through very strongly. This person has a ton of pain and they maybe have projected it onto you, hurt you in very specific ways, but the energy of repetition is what's being shown as the most important part. And so this is so interesting. There's what looks like a deep satisfaction, a deep reward this person received from hurting you. I'm sorry. I'm just reading the energy here. But like the fact that you still stayed and you still picked them after they gave you such immense pain is the reward, is the satisfaction, is the love that they were getting. It's like they never got that love anywhere else. They needed that love. And it was like the ultimate feeling of, wow, I must really matter because this beautiful person can feel so hurt and still choose me. That act of choosing you, seeing your pain and then you choosing them was what felt so rewarding, what felt like love to this person. So they didn't do these harmful things with malice. There wasn't any bad intent. It was more so like really deeply needing love in a very specific way. And it kept them looping is what it looks like. So they would need a refill rather quickly because this isn't exactly the right way to feel that type of love, but this is the only way they knew how to get it. How it relates to kind of going back to seeing you in this future tense container that they put you in, like the best parts on their plate is saved for last. They kept acting in ways they weren't aware of to keep you in that future container. For example, if your energy started naturally guiding them back to be in the present with you, which because you're loving them so unconditionally and fully, you would naturally guide them to the healthy way of love, the present way of love. And that's how a healthy relationship functions, is in the now. They would quickly dismantle that by acting in a way to hurt you, so they didn't have to stay in that present energy. They didn't realize that they were doing this either. It looks very, very unconscious. It basically risked keeping you, but because they're hurting you and you could leave at any point, to keep you in that separate part of their plate for the future, the not now, the not present. And it's really interesting because by doing this cycle, they did a lot of things, but they were confirming to themselves, the future is where I get to consume this person, not now. And they would unconsciously act in ways to hurt you in the now to keep that energy contained in that future sense. It also confirmed that they weren't in a state to consume you yet because they were acting so harmfully. It kind of kept the cycle going with extreme validation. They felt temporarily loved that you would stay, and they would still need to keep refilling that. They would still need to keep doing that because it wasn't the genuine way to experience that love that they were craving. And I see this being something that will always be a part of their energetic makeup, this cycle they're in, until those deeper layers are really addressed of why they're doing this. Until they address this hurting that they do to get love, they can never view or hold love in the present tense, no matter how perfect the person is for them. And it is a painful cycle where they're unconsciously craving, and it's keeping them from experiencing the present by doing this. There's a block by each time they're doing this action, this harmful way of experiencing love, is they're keeping themselves from the present tense of love, the experience of present love. So in other words, they are saving you for the future without realizing it, or they were saving you for the future without realizing it. They were saving you for a later time they could feel worthy of eating the best part. This was very important, and there's a part of this that you recognized in yourself. I'll get to that, I think, in the next part. But the delaying of food here that they deem is the best is because unconsciously they see their behavior as not appropriate. It doesn't match you energetically, and they do it on purpose, unconsciously on purpose. They kept doing it. They kept creating this mismatch to keep that food for later, to keep that validation coming in. This is the most cyclical thing I've ever seen. And this person, I don't think, knows how to love in another way, actually. So this is the only way in which they've experienced even a small sliver of that feeling. And so they think it's the full feeling. They think the cycle is reality on how you love. And that's why they keep doing it unconsciously. And it may be weird. Like, they may not even understand why they keep hurting you, or they may not fully have had a reason in the past. And this is why, is because they just are craving that real thing that they don't know how to obtain. So until they can learn internal validation without hurting like this, they won't be able to consume the best parts of any relationship. They will keep saving it for later. They will keep acting out in these pain cycles without acknowledging. And this isn't something that you can fix. You probably already know that, but this isn't something where you could love them genuinely enough to have them eventually understand. This is really something that they would have to really deeply heal within themselves, and it would have to untangle a lot of layers. I mean, this message is so interesting because it's so layered. It's not just focused on this person. It's also focused on you in your current reality and what you're working through right now, what you're unlearning in a specific way, whether you realize it or not. Some of you might realize it, some of you might not. This is a really delicate, energetic time for you specifically. You are slowly untangling what looks like the result of this relationship, the result of this connection, the energetic effect that lingers on you, but also something deeper that existed before this relationship as well, that kind of magnetized this relationship. I kind of see currently things being more difficult for you. Like, maybe this is really specific, but like maybe brushing your teeth, brushing your hair, like natural hygiene regimens being kind of like annoying, being kind of like a burden. I'm going to leave this in the description because there's more there. It's really specific, but it's not just those things. It's like daily tasks. And there's something really interesting about how you've absorbed both what existed in this relationship for you and what existed prior and what you're working through now. Without realizing it, you have learned, you have been given in this lifetime I don't want to say trauma, I don't know what else to call it though, a specific perspective, like almost like conditioning is what it feels like. But it's this learned behavior of saving things for the future, just like they did, but it is presented in your life in different ways, like almost like this relationship mirrored that, what you're doing in specific ways. And I see you on this path of dismantling it, but very slowly, because it's deep within you. It's deep within layers you don't realize and layers you do realize. It's kind of what drew in partners like this, or this partner, because they loved you in a way that you could recognize through this conditioning, through this understanding of, I save things for later when I'm the best, when I'm ready for the best. And if you're already aware that you're doing this, if this is already like conscious in your mind, this is like your confirmation that this person loving you and saving you for the future tense is something that you're actively working on in your life. It's reflecting in what you're detangling now, that you don't have to wait for the future to eat the best part. And it's showing through in really odd ways for you because it was more obvious with this person, right? They did this in love. They didn't know how to love correctly, but for you, it's much more subtle. It's much deeper. There's a block here in some way, and almost different to each person listening that this message resonates with. I think I'll have to leave the specifics in the description just because it's showing up in such unique and specific ways. There's so much details here, right? Like, it might show up in multiple ways for some of you. It might show up in only one way for some of you because you are already on the process of dismantling this conditioning, this trauma. I think Spirit is really asking you in this message to eat the best parts of the plate first, is to reverse the mindset here, to stop saving something for later because later isn't guaranteed. And we all know that consciously. We all hear that. We all hear life is short, it's precious to do it now, but we don't really take the action. We understand it, but we don't feel it. And Spirit's asking you to kind of like feel into it more. With this last connection, what they were doing where they were saving you for later, there's really something you're doing in your everyday life that might mirror this, that you're working through, a part of your life that you're kind of saving for later, saving this best part for a later time. And it's really asking to be witnessed today. So really, the message here is the injustice you feel from this person as they have been built up by your healing energy and you are more lost as a result is a good sign, even though it doesn't really feel that way. Being lost right now is like a symptom of the first part of rechanneling your energy back within. When you were healing this person actively, I can see at first they felt lost as well. That was like the first symptom of feeling your healing energy. And it is now your first symptom of feeling your own healing power coming back within, coming back online. You're doing two things here. You're both rechanneling your energy back within, but you're also working through deep dismantling of this old belief that you have to save things for later, that you have to set up a future that is where pleasure exists, that is where you get this best piece, the best part of the plate. So it's more so of a message to, and you probably already are working on this, but don't focus on them being more successful, on them being built up by what you did, because you need to understand that it's been built on rotten soil. It's been built on unstable grounds. It won't sustain long term because they need to go through precisely what you're doing, which is rechanneling back within. What you're doing is basically uprooting the soil. You're replanting entirely. You're confused, you're lost because you're starting over. And I don't see them doing that. I don't see them like going through the work of feeling what you're feeling. I see them repeating this cycle of not loving someone in the present and pushing them to this future until they do that work. So their success and your confusion is not a reflection of reality. It's more so a temporary experience of the shift that you did, which is bring your energy back and start dismantling these really old ancient beliefs that have lived within you. And it won't stay consistent for this person. They didn't build that success on their own. They won't sustain it on their own. And especially now that you took your energy back, it's only inevitable that they'll go back to before you healed them at the very least. But it's not about this person. It's not about whether or not they're successful or not. It's about all that energy that you took and you built them with is now shifted. It's now internal. And it's going to feel ridiculous once the energy actually shows what's happening on the inside. Once it reflects, you'll look back and you'll see, oh, it was ridiculous. I even felt envy. It was ridiculous. I even wanted to reclaim it. But that anger, that envy, that experience emotion is just your body saying, I'm reclaiming this back. It's just your energetic field pulling in all the energy back from this person. And it has to do so with an intense emotion. It has to have an emotion to rechannel that back. So that emotion is good. It means you're reclaiming in some way. Welcome to episode 7 of Salt Talks. Wow, how are we already here? For those of you who are new, I know this is weird, especially as a reader online, but you have to understand, it started as a very silly improv thing, but my collective really loved it, so I just kept doing it, and that's why we're here. Think of it as my way of commenting back to you. You guys send me so much of yourself. You let me feel into you in such specific ways, and I want to do the same. I want to reciprocate that back to you, and this does it in a way that still protects the energy so I can channel very specifically, very detailed still. You would think after 7 of these Salt Talks that I would have a structure here, but I'm kind of just going still with what blurts out of my mouth. Very much blurting word vomit energy. If I wasn't already a disruptive reader, I probably would be worried that these ramble sessions are going to get me in trouble in some way. I don't know. There's always a way you can get in trouble by rambling. But honestly, I have no fear because I'm already out here disrupting. I'm already out here, dismantling, pissing people off. So what worse could I do by sharing myself, by reciprocating? Okay. I think there's something at the top of my mind today, and I want to share. It's kind of a personal experience. It is my experience, but it also relates to things I get in the comments. So it's addressing some of your questions as well. Don't worry. Since starting this channel, I've gotten by far the most feedback about one specific thing. And it's not bad. I kind of discount the projection feedback where people talk about me and they, are mean to me. That's just reactionary. I don't really count that as true feedback. Of course I take it in, of course I feel it, but this is more structural feedback. This is more practical. It's not about my content specifically. It's about me being on YouTube and being more efficient. And I want to give you guys a second to guess what it might be. It's going to be awkward to sit here for a minute, but I really want you guys to try to guess. I don't know why. It's very practical. It's very structured. What do you think would be my most received feedback? I'm going to wait now awkwardly for a couple of seconds. The number one thing that I get is feedback about my mic, about my sound. It is endless comments about the quality of my sound, about my voice. Some of them are angry. I am not a mic expert by any means. And this has been quite the journey for me personally as a faceless channel because there is so much emphasis on my voice. You are only listening to me. You are not seeing me. The sound is so important. And I wanted to tell you guys a funny story. When I first started this channel, it kind of was like a sporadic calling. I knew I was called for a specific thing, but I didn't know how it would show in the physical. It's not like I was born one day and was like, I'm going to start a YouTube channel and help people. It was like, I'm going to disrupt the tarot industry. No, it was more of like I was called to do this thing, but I was playing with different outlets on how to do it to see how the energy responded. And when I started this channel, I used, since I was just playing, a very simple Apple corded wired headphones as my mic. Just the basic $10. You speak into the little square on the headphones and you plug it into your phone, done. And it was pretty good. It was decent quality because, your mouth is so close to the mic. Even if it's not great, it's user friendly, it's minimal. And once I switched to a professional mic, because there was still some feedback I was getting, it's not perfect. I got so many comments that the sound was better before. It was better on my $10 Apple corded headphones. Some creators stick by this. They're like, use those cheap things forever. They are what works. But I felt like I needed to expand into better quality. I needed to learn. It's not that I didn't value this minimal approach. It's that I wanted to be better for you guys. I always want to keep growing. I always want to play around and get better. But I just thought it was really funny that, people were telling me to go back to my corded headphones. They didn't know what it was. They were like, the sound was just much, much better. And right now I'm on my third professional mic. Yes, I have bought 3 mics. I have started with Apple corded headphones. If that doesn't tell you how much of a trial and error girly I really am, then I don't know what does. But I'm finally playing with the big boys. And I have to say, one thing I've noticed is that whenever you upgrade, whenever you push out the cheaper version and get something new, is every new thing has a complexity to learn. It is not that I just upgrade and then I'm like, wow, this is so much better. It's always like starting off where it's like, oh my God, the last thing I had was so much better. And I really had no idea that mics and sound held so much detail, so much to learn. But anyway, long story short, I'm done experimenting. I've done enough trial and error to last really a lifetime at this point. And I wanted to inform all of you, because I get so many comments about this, is those large gaps in sound and mic quality that you heard was me playing. Some of you noticed it, some of you didn't, but it should stay more consistent now. Other than that, I'm just going to be like doing small tweaks at this point. I am staying consistent with this sound. Other than that, I wanted to tell you all that I'm still feeling that wave of emotion I described a couple readings back. This is a collective energy wave that we're all experiencing. I feel it intensely. I'm sorting through a lot at this time from you all. So I just wanted to maybe warn you, maybe give a disclaimer that some messages could be inconsistent upcoming. It could be a lot come through at once, like a burst. They need to go out. They're urgent. Or it could be me being less consistent. I'm really trying to stay consistent, but I kind of also have to ride these waves with you. So just be prepared to ride with me. I'm not quite sure what to expect. Also, if you want to hear specific things from me in these salt talks, if you have specific questions I have not answered, keep leaving them in the comments. I've probably already read your comments asking these questions many times, but I try to keep these talks to a majority of questions, to a collective pull. So it's not favoriting energy types. It's not answering more outlier energy. It's more neutral in its shape. And I don't know if I made that premise of this Salt Talks clear, but my idea is to still protect the space. And so I go with a majority of comments that I get a lot. So the more likely that you ping me about it, the more likely that you'll hear from me about it. It just might take some time too, since I'm working through a majority of comments first. And on that note, please keep leaving comments, keep nudging me. If you're new here, wow, how was this experience? Was it weird? Am I crazy to you? Or let me know what you think. I would love to hear. The way these readings are so detailed, if you felt that they were, is because I'm quite insane about protecting the communicational space of the energy here, if you haven't already gotten that vibe. The comments, emails, whatever communicational nudges you give to me help me channel more efficiently in upcoming reads. That is why I'm able to be as detailed as I am. It's not like a line where you're waiting in your turn. It's more like divine timing. It's more like the message needs to reach someone now, so it must go out. So if you're nudging me and you're not feeling like my messages are aligned, it's probably not time for you yet. Not that the nudges themselves aren't going through. I probably feel them pretty deeply. And it goes without saying, but I will say it anyway. I love you guys. I'm feeling whatever you're feeling right now. I'm there with you. You are not alone. Trust me. I am here. Cheers, friends.